Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about Gemini relationships, and yes, this does apply and pertain to the Sun, Moon, and Ascendant. Well, first thing off, as far as Gemini and relationships go, the first house, and of course, Gemini will fall on it in a solar or natal chart. The first house can often represent the paternal grandmother and maternal grandfather. Now, this person or people may be a Sun, Moon, or Gemini ascendant person, or may simply be someone that simply embodies Gemini-like characteristics. It could be people that are very versatile, lively, vivacious, animated, loquacious, dexterous, good with the hands. It could be people in a Gemini-like profession, such as something connected with dexterity, like auto or refrigeration mechanics. It could be somebody that may be in a communications field, such as broadcasting, writing, or even data or satellite communications, working with computers or information technology, people that, anyway, and also, too, as far as the relationship may go with these people, it could be one that, of course, has a lot of communication where you're articulating things well with each other as Gemini. I mean, since you can have that ability, obviously, Gemini, and anyway, and also one with very animated conversations and much intellectual stimulation, maybe playing games that challenge the mind, like such as Haiku or Mastermind, for example. So anyway, the next thing up is, as far as Gemini relationships go, the third house in astrology represents cousins and siblings, and Leo often falls on the third house cusp in a solar or natal chart for Gemini. So this could indicate that one or more cousins or siblings may be a Sun, Moon, or Leo ascendant, or simply embody Leo-like characteristics. One or more of these people might be showy, flamboyant, extroverted, gregarious, very magnanimous and generous, charismatic, have good presence, whether it might be on stage performing or just in general, but yet could be very domineering and might be kind of control freaks as well. And also ones that are very extravagant. And one or more of these people might be in a Leo-like profession. It could be something connected with the theater, something with creativity, working with children, entertainment, perhaps something where they're getting perhaps certain notoriety, exposure, and recognition. It could be working in some kind of a circus or some kind of a place of amusement, such as an amusement park. And also, too, as far as the relationship goes with these people, it could be one where in some cases you might, especially with siblings, where people might be trying to express certain dominance. And really, I mean, we are talking about Leo energy after all, but one where generosity is strongly expressed and where you show strong loyalty and devotion toward each other as well. But relationships that you may take with a lot of pride at the same time. So anyway, next thing up as far as Gemini and relationships go, on the fourth house cusp in a solar or natal chart for Gemini, Virgo often will fall on it. So, and the fourth house represents the less dominant parent, which is often the mother. So this person may have a Virgo, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant, or simply embody Virgo-like characteristics. It could be someone that is rather particular, punctilious with details, fastidious, might be a meticulous dresser, somebody that you might consider a neat freak, very reticent and humble, but very analytical at the same time, and even intellectual, somebody that's very good about regarding organization, but might take a lot of precautions as far as health related things, like one of those people that take a lot of precautions over germs and putting the towels on the grabbing a public restroom door handle with a paper towel, for example, something like that. But this could also be someone that may work in a Virgo-like profession, such as working as a nutritionist, somebody like a dietitian, or somebody that might be in a health or fitness field, someone that might work with analytics, might do extrapolation of data, a person that might do something that is very cerebral, something that could be Virgo related in general. So anyway, but as far as the relationship goes with this person, the less dominant parent, which is often the mother, it could be one where you look at this as where health matters can play a very strong role, where you're very maybe concerned and conscious of each other's health. It could also be one where you might kind of pick at each other a little bit, as Virgo energy can be very particular, but at the same time, really when you have to be somewhere for each other, one where you want to be very timely and punctual, and really where maybe you're very, I guess you could say, reliable, where reliability is expressed very strongly. So anyway, well, the next thing up is, as far as Gemini and relationships go, is the fifth house, which is connected with children and the romantic partner. Now, Libra often falls on the fifth house cusp in a solar or natal chart for Gemini. So for Gemini, well, actually, this person that's represented by this fifth house could be someone or people represented by the fifth house, children, and the romantic partner. One or more may have a Libra sun, moon, or ascendant, or simply embody Libra-like characteristics. It could be someone that is very diplomatic, charming, refined, cultured, equitable, fair, and abhors injustice. And could be someone too that may be in a Libra-like profession, such as working as a diplomat, someone in arbitration, a legal field, such as working as an attorney, a bailiff, judge, paralegal, court reporter. Could be somebody that might be involved in some kind of artwork, or the arts in general, and someone that might also be someone that might work in negotiations. So anyway, and as far as the relationship goes with this person, as far as children and the romantic partner may go, it could be one where you want a lot of balance and fairness, and but at the same time a lot of peace and harmony. But both parties will speak up, undoubtedly, I believe, whenever something is not fair or equitable, as Libra energy, of course, is about abhorring injustice. So anyway, well, the next thing up is, as far as Gemini and relationships go, the sixth house in astrology is about our work relationships, but it also can represent aunts and uncles. It could be what it is generally it's going to be will be the less dominant parents' siblings. It's often the mother's siblings is what's represented by the sixth house. So really, I mean, you're looking at aunts and uncles, and with this, of course, Scorpio often falls on the sixth house cusp in a solar natal chart for Gemini. So one or more of these people represented may have a Scorpio sun, moon, or ascendant, or simply embody Scorpio-like characteristics. They could be people that are very willful, resilient, even surreptitious, very powerful, intense, and very probing as well, but yet could be manipulative and can be vengeful, vindictive, and grudge holding as well, but can be very resourceful at the same time. And could also be one or more of these people may be involved in a Scorpio-like profession. Could be working in psychology, psychiatry, doing something with the occult, astrology, supernatural, magic, alchemy, forensics, investigation, doing something connected with transforming, such as recycling, Also, too, as far as the relationship goes with these people, with these aunts and uncles, which will often be on the mother's side of the family, siblings of the mother often, because the fourth house does represent the less dominant parent. The connection with them, I mean, and for Gemini, this is almost a rarity, but because Scorpio often falls on the sixth house cusp in a solar natal chart for Gemini, the connection can be one that could be very deep and something that is not superficial, and where you go, where you're able to go beyond the surface often with these people. And it's really hard to lie to these people in this situation because Scorpio energy, of course, is going beyond subterfuge. And also too, where you express a lot of resourcefulness, perhaps in as far as like maybe being able to help each other out. So in a relationship can be very powerful and intense, being Scorpio energy. Anyway, well, next thing up, as far as Gemini relationships go, in a solar or natal chart for Gemini, Sagittarius will often fall on the seventh house. I mean, not often, it will fall on the seventh house cusp, I should say. That's automatic since it's opposite from Gemini. Now, the seventh house in astrology represents a significant other, the marriage partner, and often the maternal grandmother and paternal grandfather. So one or more of these people may be a Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant, or simply embody Sagittarius-like characteristics. They could be people that are exuberant, optimistic, jovial, speak the veritable truth, very forthright and blunt, very philosophical, could even be rather religious, and people too that really have a lot of exuberance and enthusiasm, and could even be sports minded as well. The thing about this too is that one or more of these people may be involved in a Sagittarius-like profession. It could be someone, one or more of these people might be in sports, sports-related field, perhaps something connected with philosophy, religion, theology, maybe a professor at a university, someone that works in publishing, an adventurer, an explorer, somebody that works in a travel field, such as working as a travel agent or a pilot. So anyway, but another thing I want to get at as far as this goes, as far as the relationship goes, it could be one where you're very open with that significant other, and perhaps the maternal grandmother and paternal grandfather. One when you're very blunt, speak the veritable truth, but sometimes be careful to make sure you're not demoralizing each other in the process, speaking what you feel is your strong, unadulterated truth. But one way you could really joke with them and really express a lot of jocularity, I think, with each other, and also maybe play some practical jokes on each other every now and then, as Sagittarius energy often likes to do so. Anyway, well, the next thing up is, as far as Gemini and relationships go, is the eighth house, which represents intimate and sexual relationships. And Capricorn will often fall on the eighth house cusp in a solar or natal chart for Gemini. So one or more of these people may have a Capricorn Sun, Moon, or Ascendant, or simply embody Capricorn-like characteristics. It could be someone that might come across a little bit callous, undemonstrative, cold, but very serious, consistent, single-minded, very orthodox and conventional, and someone that may really have difficult time showing maybe a whimsical side as well. Very prudent but economical, but might come across a little bit despondent and melancholy. And that being said, it could also be someone that may work in a Capricorn-like field, such as dentistry, even information technology, working in some kind of business, maybe a politician, a person that works in a government field, someone that is really a person that may really just do something that might be very Capricorn related. So anyway, At the same time, given as far as the relationship goes, with this person, it could be one, we're talking about Capricorn energy, and wherever Capricorn falls in the chart can be somewhat restricting and limiting. And in this case, it could be where you might feel this relationship is a little bit restricted. Remember, this is eighth house is about our intimate. Also, I see it as a deep connections, because the eighth house in astrology, of course, corresponds with Scorpio. But you have to remember, you're talking about being a Gemini. Gemini has a hard time with deep connections, and I think that has something to do with Capricorn often falling on the eighth house cusp in a solar natal chart for Gemini. But that being said, it can be a relationship where it's very serious and where you're very consistent with this person, back at, as far as them being, just the relationship being very consistent, very conventional, very orthodox. But it could be one that might cause some despondency and sadness as well. But at the same time, one where really, Capricorn energy, I think, can be, fairly predictable and very consistent. So I think that's where you're looking as far as that relationship goes. But anyway, well, the next thing up is the ninth house in astrology, as far as Gemini relationship goes. And the ninth house in astrology represents in-laws and grandchildren. So this could reflect an in-law or grandchild that may have an Aquarius. Aquarius often falls on the ninth house cusp in a solar natal chart for Gemini. So this could reflect someone that has an Aquarius sun, moon, or ascendant, or simply embody Aquarius-like characteristics. It could be someone that could be rather eccentric, unorthodox, eclectic, innovative, non-conforming, maybe even somewhat bizarre or unusual, but yet somewhat detached and aloof, but could express very selfless and humanitarian qualities. Now, the thing about this too is one or more of these people might be in an Aquarius-like profession. It could be an innovator, inventor, somebody that works in computers or electronics, an esoteric field such as astrology, aerospace, astronomy, even in some cases rocket science. That being said, as far as the relationship and connection that you have with these people, it could be one where you express a lot of amicability, very amiable, and one where you express a lot of friendliness. But that being said, it could be where you might really perceive each other more as a friend, or you may see these people more as a friend than they are a family member. One where a lot of friendship is exuded and exhibited. But that being said, there might also be something unusual about this connection as well. So anyway, and one where you express a lot of maybe ingenuity with as well. So anyway, the next thing up is, well, as far as Gemini and relationships go, the 10th house in astrology represents the dominant parent, which is often the father, and Pisces often falls on the 10th house cusp in a solar or natal chart for Gemini. So this person can it could be someone that has a Pisces sun, moon, or ascendant, or simply someone that embodies Pisces-like characteristics. Could be someone that has very strong, all-encompassing emotions, a person very compassionate. This dominant parent might be very self-sacrificing, imaginative, dreamy, but yet very idealistic. And wherever Pisces is in a chart, I see this as where one often overlooks transgressions and wrongdoings. It's like you might see that dominant parent is nearly infallible because you might be overly idealistic as far as your outlook toward that person. And and also this person may also seem somewhat passive, malleable, but yet even nebulous and confused and even lethargic, at least in your perception perhaps. Now, the person may also be in a Pisces-like profession, such as doing something with the metaphysical, which includes astrology, doing something with spirituality, chemistry, pharmaceutical work, photography, working in special effects, doing something with illusions such as special effects, or working as like a magician could be another example. So, and even poetry or dancing as well. So, as far as the relationship goes with this person, the dominant parent, which is often the father, as I stated before, it could be one where perhaps the two of you might overlook transgression strongly, especially maybe you, as far as what you see in this person, where you're very idealistic and try to overlook the defaults and shortcomings of that person, and one where a lot of compassion and empathy may be expressed as well, but just be careful that it's not, like an overabundance of deception and duplicity as well. And I think a lot of that depends on the aspects that the 10th house cusp is making. If it makes, especially you got like an adverse aspect going to Mercury, this could be one where you have maybe a lot of deception and duplicity going on in connection with that person. So anyway, well, the next thing up is, as far as Gemini and relationships go, the 11th house in astrology represents, okay, as far as relationships go, friends and stepchildren, and if you do have them, and if applicable. Now, Aries often falls on the 11th house cusp in a solar or natal chart for Gemini. So one or more of these people can be an Aries sun, moon, or ascendant, or simply someone that embodies Aries-like characteristics. It could be someone that could be very fiery, assertive, aggressive, combative, not afraid to be confrontational, rather abrupt, forceful, could be hot-tempered, but have a lot of enterprise and initiative, and people that are in a hurry to get things started. So anyway, it also could be someone that may be in an Aries-like profession, such as working in welding, doing something related to fire, such as arson investigation, firefighting, someone in a leadership role or position. It could be someone that works in the military, a soldier, something that could be, or even in sports perhaps in some cases. So anyway, but as far as the relationship goes, then as far as friends and stepchildren, if applicable, it could be one where you're very forthright and very outspoken with each other, and really forceful about regarding maybe getting things done and accomplished, and really not hesitating and taking action with situations with each other. But at the same time, it could be one that could also be somewhat contentious and combative in some situations, but one where you're willing to forgive and forget and not hold a grudge for a protracted period of time. Now, last but not least, as far as Gemini relationships go, well, the 12th house in astrology represents, okay, the less dominant parents' siblings. So these are going to be aunts and uncles represented. Now, or I should say, I'm sorry, it's the dominant, not the less dominant parent siblings, the dominant parents' siblings. So anyway, aunts and uncles represented. Taurus often falls on the 12th house cusp in a solar or natal chart for Gemini. So for Gemini, well, this could be where one or more of these people represented could be a Taurus sun, moon, or ascendant, or simply embody Taurus-like characteristics. It could be people that are rather stubborn, obstinate, stolid, but yet persistent and persevering, very stable and steady, rather impassive, but very loyal and steadfast. And also maybe people that are very possessive as well. Now, one or more of these people may be in a Taurus-like profession. It could be someone that works as a stockbroker, someone in finance, banking, working as a pawnbroker because they understand, of course, the value of material items. A person that might be involved in art. It could be, which of course covers a wide divergence of things, whether it might be sculpting, drawing, or painting. A person that may be involved in cultivation. So anyway, but last but not least, as far as the connection goes with this person, the less dominant parent siblings, which are aunts and uncles, one that can be, the connection could be very stable and steady, and one where you really strive for peace and for harmony, and where, but at the same time, it could be one where you're very unyielding in your viewpoints and really in one where maybe where you're very loyal and steadfast to each other, where you express a lot of loyalty and steadfastness with each other. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for Gemini relationships. Stay tuned next time, where I will be talking about the zodiac sign Cancer and relationships. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.